recently in London. It was very heartwarming to see him smiling. Essentially, I want to emphasize the importance. It really brought on home the reason why we do events like this and why we campaign, to see people, when we see our brothers and sisters released. Shaka emphasized the importance of continued efforts by us to fight for justice for those who are still suffering as victims of miscarriage of justice. That's the Craig Gavin 2 and Munir Faruqi and so many other cases that we speak about today. Which brings me to our next speakers, the son and daughter of Munir Faruqi, essentially who have travelled here from Manchester to share their experiences and talk about their father's case. Zuleika Faruqi will speak about how it has impacted the family on a very personal level, the arrest, the detention, the raid, and Haris Faruqi, who was also arrested, but later all charges were dropped and he was cleared. He will talk about, obviously, the campaign to free his father.
My name is Zuleika Faruqi. I'm the daughter of Munir Faruqi. Just to start off with, as you can see the banner there, Munir Faruqi was actually framed by undercover officers. So to explain it, let's start off with who exactly Munir Faruqi is and what work he did. My father, he's been very active in the Manchester community and very well known member of the community. For over 10 years, he's been doing dawah work. Dawah is basically an invitation to Islam. So, following 9/11, there was a lot of hostility in the community where and hatred against Muslims. There was a lot of attacks and etc. and misconceptions and stereotypes. So my father, he wanted to do something in order to rid the community of these stereotypes and misconceptions against Muslims and Islam. And he came up with this idea of to set up stalls, public stalls, where he could speak openly. Is that better? So he came up with this idea to set up stalls, dawah stalls, where he would distribute free literature about Islam to non-Muslims. So these stalls proved to be very, very successful and beneficial because a lot of non-Muslims, took interest in Islam, and they came back and they said that what they were hearing from the media was totally wrong, and they understand the true beauty of Islam and the image of Islam and the fact that Islam isn't associated with terrorism. So in that time, there's a number of people would try to stop his work, like the police or the council. But because my father was doing nothing illegal, they were always unsuccessful. The police would many times take away literature with them and a watch it, etc. But like I said, he was doing nothing illegal. Everything was very, very public. Not only that, my father is very, very, very kind and good-natured man. He's very, very loving, very compassionate. So, and he would always invite people to our house. So our house was, constantly busy with guests, with new people of all different nations and nationalities and of all different colours. Alhamdulillah, we were a very, very active family as such. So my father would meet people from the stalls from all different religions, and he would invite them to our house, and we would eat together, converse, and one of his very close friends is actually a Christian minister who he also met through the stalls. So from these stalls, he actually met two people, Simon and Ray. And they approached my father's stall again, taking interest in Islam, taking literature back with them. And they grew an interest in Islam. and they, they befriended my father, and they said that, we would like to learn more. So my father, like with everyone else, he said, come along to my house rather than talking here out on the end of the street. Come to my house, we'll eat together, and we'll talk, we'll have a chat. Months went by. Actually, some of these people from the stalls would actually embrace Islam eventually as well. On average, I would say like one person would take Shahad, would embrace the faith every week. So, the same happened with Simon and Ray. They both separately embraced Islam, one at the mosque and one in our home. And they said that they were very, from troubled backgrounds. One of them was an ex-alcoholic. And my father, knowing the type of person he is, it doesn't matter what your religion or race is, he is there to help you. So he really, his heart, he really gave up a lot of his hours of his time to these people, because they said that they had no family, they'd been disowned, or they're ex-alcoholics, and they had no support, no friends. So my father was there for them. Anything they needed, they knew that they could rely on my dad. Alhamdulillah. So, they spent a lot of their time in our home, and they eventually, when they did embrace Islam, they became more practicing. They learned about the faith. They attended our mosques. They attended Quran classes. They changed their attire, grew their beards. They even did dawah with Dad on the dawah stalls, to that extent. So, they grew this very close friendship, because, they knew that the sort of person my father is, that he's very caring and generous, and he's always there for them. So, many times actually, if they could only, pop by for a few minutes or something, and it's time to eat, they would say, no, we can't stop over to eat, but we're rushing off. My mum would quickly, she'd say, no, you can't come to our home. And it's not just Simon and Ray, it's generally, this is the type of, parents I'm blessed with. My mum would say, right, I'll pack some food for you and take it home with you. You don't come to our house and not eat or drink. I would feel bad if you do that. So hospitality is something that, I've witnessed, I've grown up with through the example of my parents. So this was around the end of 2008 and 2009. They were with my father for about a whole year. In that time, I was studying away, and I was going to get married in September 2000, end of September 2009. So we were very busy as a family as well. We were doing shopping, wedding preparations. Very, very happy family. Sorry, it's just very difficult to relate the experiences and to remember, how life was at the time, and how life has totally changed for the past 6 years. And it's all because of these two men. It's very difficult. What's amazing about that is the fact that till this day, and later on you realize, what these two men actually did, but till this day my father has not even one bad word to say about these guys. Despite spending a whole year with my father, despite him being there for them in every way, till this day, it's been 6 years on, and I've never ever heard him say anything negative about these guys. This is the type of man my father is. So humble, so loving, so forgiving, and he's basically not a terrorist. He's far from it. And this is the whole purpose, and this is why I'm here, to humanize my father, to show the true man he really is. You know, what the media portrays is totally wrong, and we have to look beyond that, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, it was a very lovely time for us as a family. In 2009, we were getting prepared for my wedding celebrations. We had guests coming from all over the world, to be honest, for a couple of weeks. It was a very happy time, and the main person who was behind those preparations was my father, to be honest. You know, inviting the guests, being there for the guests, making sure that they're fed well. You know, they have the right accommodation, they're comfortable, everything. He was staying on top of all of that, to the extent even my wedding dress. He put every gem that was there, every stone that was on my wedding dress. There was hundreds of them. He glued every stone onto my wedding dress. I was studying away, but this is the type of person my father is. He's a very family-orientated man. He's a man who's not only there for the family, but for anyone, any sort of person, especially for reverts and for non-Muslims, because his passion is to speak the truth, to be there and to be helpful and caring, and to help anyone out there. And this was his main drive, even for the dawah. It was because that he felt that this is the true religion of Islam, and you know what's out there in the media and all the stereotypes is wrong. So it's my duty to share this beauty and to rid the stereotypes, so that every person has the opportunity to see the true beauty of Islam. This was his main drive, just the loving personality that he is, not only for the family but everyone around him. So in November, 16th of November 2009 is a moment our life was turned upside down, totally destroyed. 16th of November 2009, I remember clearly around 3 o'clock in the morning. I was alone in my room and I heard a loud bang, and loud bang and loud boots. I woke up from my sleep and loud boots banging all the way up the stairs, and screaming and shouting and even laughter. And I thought, you know, these thugs who have broken into our home, and I'm going to get murdered, I'm going to get raped. This is the very first thought that came to my mind. But the moment I saw these two big-built men walk into my room and shouting at me and telling me to get out of the bed and you know, sit in one place and not move, etc., I realized, right, this is a raid. And I said to him, I was traumatized. I didn't understand why they were there. I knew it was raid, but I couldn't understand why. And the first thought that came to my mind, and I said that to them there and then, I said, you barge into my home in like this and you call us Muslims a terrorist. I said, what you are doing right now is terrorism. You are the real terrorist. And this is something that we have to remember constantly. You know, when you hear about these arrests one after the other, we have to remember that it's lives that are being destroyed. You know, it doesn't just affect the person who is arrested, but it affects the entire family. It affects the whole society, the whole community at large, which is the case, you know, with us. I mean, my sister, she was 5 years old at the time, and who experienced this raid. And the first thing she said that very moment, she said to my mother, you know, who are these people? Don't they have any manners? Did Dad not do dawah to them? You know, did he not do dawah to them? Why are they behaving in such a manner? Don't they know how to treat other people? And we're hearing this from a 5-year-old at the moment of a raid. And this speaks for itself. The fact that a 5-year-old knows that her father is doing dawah, which is nothing but goodness. There's nothing but goodness in his work. That he is a good man, and he invited people to the truth, and he was kind to people. That he teaches people to be good persons, about good manners. This is the word of a 5-year-old. So yes, and my brother, he will expand on exactly what it was that these two people did, because they turned out to be 2 undercover officers. And we have to remember, that their work is disgusting and extremely damaging, to the extent that I had just got married, like I said, in that September, to an English revert, a new Muslim, and it really affected me to that level where I was wondering, maybe he is also an undercover officer. We have to remember how disgraceful, these tactics are. The use of undercover officers in our society is so damaging on such a deep level. Not only did they infiltrate our family home, but all these mosques that they attended, and the classes and everything. They fooled an entire community to such an extent where we even begin to suspect people. If people come forward and saying that we're interested in Islam and we would like to read more about it, etc., they want to speak to you, you'd think, maybe he has other motives or agendas. And so we have to think about this, and I won't go too long. I'll pass it over to my brother, who will explain further what happened.